Xycia's Cyberpunk 2077 weekly update.
So what was the game again? What are we doing? Cyberpunk. Got it. Okay. So Cyberpunk 2077. So we talked Thursday. Night City Wire isn't happening again. We're obviously not going to have a whole lot, we thought, on this. But as he said, things had still come out, and we were kind of surprised that we still had something to talk about. Well, something to talk about is actually a understatement, as over the past days, they started having some leaked footage online of Cyberpunk 2077 being played on PS4. And it got posted on, I think, the Cyberpunk Reddit originally, like Xbox or the PS5 or PS4 case for it. And it showed like, hey, I'm playing it. It's already here. And then someone actually went on.
Yay, it's released.
Yeah, and they had
go get it, Mike. It's
so
released.
The physical copy, which is the interesting part about this, because I mean, a lot of times things get leaked. They have obviously people do bad things and leak things in the internet, and you get a cracked version, which ultimately all of these are going to be before day one patch. And let me put that out there now. That was something that CD Projekt Red made the announcement way early when they delayed this, that there's still going to be a day one patch, and that's why they're working toward the December 10th deadline, is that they know there are things that need to be fixed. So this fact that this is a physical copy, that means this was made obviously before the day one patch that they're working on now was supposed to be made. So it's going to have issues.
Yeah.
I didn't actually.
Well, and that's exactly what we had talked about before when we said Cyberpunk 2077 went gold.
Right.
And gold means that the final release version is done. They're still going to keep work on it. They're going to have a day one patch. They're going to fix some things up, but they have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, well, if we're going to be releasing by this date, we need to get the final release version out to the duplicators, the physical disc duplicators. So we're going to give them the gold version, and they get that, and they start spinning off discs with the concept that they're going to meet a date. And that date that they were supposed to meet was November 19th.
Yep.
So they had already produced all these discs, and they're not going to keep them in their factory after they're going to duplicate them, and they're going to give them to the boxing factory, and the boxing factory is going to box them all up, and they're not going to keep them there because that takes up space and takes up money. They're going to ship them out. And then CD Projekt Red's like, we ain't got no place to store them. So they're going to ship them out to the retailers, and they're going to say, don't open this till the 10th of December.
Well,
and people are going to be like,
yeah, obviously that didn't happen. And so there was actually leaked footage of someone streaming this. And I'll say disclaimer, I didn't watch any of the footage. I don't want to see the footage. I want to keep this as a very fresh copy. Like when I start to play, like it's a new experience. I don't want to see any kind of spoilers, whether it's not a spoiler or not. So I didn't actually watch any of this, but I did read some of the articles on it. However, I think Demurin actually did watch some of the footage, and I'll let him tell you from the experience of what he watched. Obviously, like I said, not day one. What was your experience?
So the goal date was October 5th, so the version would have been finalized sometime around that, which means it's not a super old version. It did worry me a little bit, not in terms of I think the game is going to suck optimization-wise on things like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, or the PC. I think it'll be fine for the most part optimization-wise. I think that it'll meet the specs. The problem is the footage is from PS4, and from everything I saw on that version, unless they did some incredible optimization, like phenomenal optimization, the pop-in was disgusting. Just like some of the most ridiculous pop-in I've seen in a game for a while, so hopefully that does get remedied. There were a lot of like just graphical, like just how much it was toned down graphically was way more than I expected for the game. The person did skip character creation, so you don't get to see that, so that's not spoiled for anybody. Go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of videos out there, the journalist videos that have the newer build that they got 16 hours of, where they've been showing that anyway, if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
But now, did you recently see the footage that CD Projekt Red released that was the Xbox One X footage along with the Series X footage? Because they were like swapping back and forth. I was wondering if you saw that and got any comparison.
That was from the Night City Wire special that they had last week.
I don't think I did see that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was pleasantly surprised at the Xbox One X footage. There was some pop in and there was some lower texture, and there certainly was
We should also.
There certainly wasn't any of the fancy fog or
Yeah,
anything.
one of the things to note though is if you're comparing, like, if you want to compare it that way, the other thing you need to compare is the Xbox One X versus the PS4 Pro. I've got
yeah.
both of them, both those consoles. They're plugged into the same TV. I can tell you, when I play on the X, I buy all my single player titles on the Xbox One X, and I'll always tell people I do that. And there's a reason. The PS4 Pro for higher resolution and better graphics is a piece of shit in comparison to the Xbox One X. There's no contest. I don't like, I've never actually looked at the granular details of what each console has, but the PS4 Pro is arguably just worse when it comes to graphical output. It just is. It just doesn't look as good. I got Red Dead Redemption for the PS4 Pro, and then I got it for free for the Xbox One X. And the game on the Xbox One X looks substantially better. Like, very much substantially better, and runs substantially better on the Xbox One X than it does on the PS4 Pro. So it does not surprise me that the game looked way worse on PS4 Pro to the point where I was noticing it.
Sure.
And it could also be, I don't know, maybe he could have been running it on just a normal PS4. I didn't think of that. Which would be really bad.
Yeah, that could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with the disclaimer, they always said that you can upgrade. That was the point, right?
Yeah.
So if you did get the copy, you
yeah.
can upgrade it to a new version or the new console for free, which is also noted in the sticker. There's a sticker on the front of the physical copy that they had. But,
yeah. The reason it's important, I feel like, to mention this is, I'm not saying do not buy Cyberpunk 2077 because I think it's going to be a great game. I think, like with all things in all games, unless you are hyper invested in something for a specific reason. For me, it's I love CD Projekt Red. I love their games. I've played all the Witcher games, even the first Witcher, which was a fucking shit show in terms of how clunky it was. I still played the crap out of that game 2 times through, bugs and all. I ate it. I'm invested. I pre-ordered. I'm fine with it. But if you're on the fence and you have a PS4, not a PS4 Pro, you don't have a PS5, which most people don't, and most people are going to be playing this on either a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One X or their PC. Wait a couple of days. Let it come out. Let people play with the day one patch. See how it works.
Yeah.
And then if it works well, you're still interested in the game, pick it up. The last thing I want is for people to be disappointed because they pre-ordered the game and they pull it up on PS4 and it turns out that it does have all those issues. It's not well optimized, because that would really suck. Not for the company. I mean, screw them. If they actually make that mistake, then fuck them. They screwed up. But for you guys as gamers to not have to suffer through something like that and be like, wow, I just wasted $60. Aside from the technical aspects of it, the opening of the game that I saw, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, it looked good. The world opens up like instantaneously, and it's just like, boom, you're just in. So from everything I saw in like the 20 so minutes before he got taken down, the game did look very flushed out. You'd see everything in the distance to some degree, even with the reduced graphics. You could see that there was a very large built-out open world. So I'm very excited to get my hands on it.
Yeah, the other thing too is, this was rumored at first, like did someone actually have it? And then CD Projekt Red's response is that they would obviously take legal action against anybody who have either leaked it early or distributed it earlier than the date they had set. So that kind of confirms that was in fact the actual game, and it was a actual release that they did get their hands on. But
and not just one person. It's more and more of these have been cropping up.
Yeah. But I mean,
you've had retailers or stuff fall out of trucks on the way to your warehouses,
or just taken out of the box delivered to your house. So
yeah, I don't think that. I think there'll be some resistance, but I don't think CD Projekt Red's going to be super insane about it unless somebody gets their hands on a PS5 copy. If somebody posts a PS5 version of the game where it's supposed to be functioning a lot better on the new hardware, and it looks bad, that's going to get CD Projekt Red really uppity really fast, especially if they're close to the game.
But yeah, ultimately, if you're one of these people that really want to play play Cyberpunk 2077, as I am, I'm not a huge fan of CD Projekt Red. Like I do like them, and I'm not saying I'm not a fan. I mean, I am a fan, but I'm not like a Demurin fan who's played all the games and stuff.
Well, why did you butcher that whole
That was pretty bad.
concept?
But the idea was, if you're into this kind of game and you want to play it, I would prefer not to watch the stuff. Like, I'm not watching any of the footage. And as a person that can get a hold of this, like if you're a person that could get a hold of the copy, like, don't play it. I mean, just wait till the actual game is finally released. I mean, that's why there is a day one patch. I mean, yeah, it's before things were released day of, but now it is a day one patch. That's the new common thing to do. So I would just wait till that happens.
I personally don't agree with you. If you have the game, play it. Play the shitty non-day one version, and I hope that when the game launches officially and it's day one and you open it up again, you remember all the shitty bugs you have to deal with, and it just ruins the game for you. You slimy piece of shit. Fuck you.
I mean, it'd be early access, I guess.
They didn't break street date. They just walked in there. Grandma bought them the new game for them that they heard that they wanted. They're like, well, okay, Grandma, thank you.
I think
it's weird that I have it now.
A lot of the people that are getting their hands on this are not getting them through. Most of the stores retailing this, you can't walk into a Walmart, a Target, a GameStop, and buy one of those games and walk out properly. There's
not a big game, but there's plenty of small game stores out there that either don't care about street dates or just don't realize sometimes.
Usually when this stuff happens, it's because somebody either works at one of those stores or knows somebody that works at one of those stores and paid them a little bit of money to maybe steal one of those copies and drop it in the bin or something. So
I thought you were like this optimistic Canadian.
No, what? Are you kidding me? Did you hear me talking about AMD, Sony, Microsoft?
The other thing CD Projekt Red announced is the actual graphic specs that we're looking for. They initially gave us the minimum requirements, which was what we were hyped about, but they've actually came out now with the actual ray tracing gameplay along with the RTX PC requirements. And I mean, as expected, Ultra is going to look like we're using an RTX at the minimum 3070, which most people don't have, using an i7 or Ryzen 5. 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of virtual RAM, and having the game run at 2160. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for, and that's the high end. So there is minimum or medium specs that are out here listed as well, which is like an RTX 2060 and with an i7 or a Ryzen 3, 16 gigs of RAM. So there is that. So it seems like I'll probably be playing this. I have a GTX 2060. With a Ryzen 7, so it looks like I'll be playing this probably between medium to ultra, so high, and that'll be okay with that. Like I'm not trying to. I don't have to breathe and live this game. It should be fun on its own, so that'd be fine. So, but that was released recently, and so there's that. Go check it out. It's online. You can go figure out if you need to start prepping now or just want to wait completely until you can actually get a 3080 and unless you're Demirin who can just magically get one. So. Last part of Cyberpunk news is kind of weird. It's a Sims 4. There's a mod that allows you. So in the game, there's like the PC builds you can buy that are like supposed to be like the high tech PC gaming PCs, and they always have like the screenshots of like things that are moving, so the character seems like they're playing. Well, there's a mod now that actually it swaps out that footage with games like Cyberpunk 2077, Forza Horizon 4, GTA 5, League of Legends, Monster Hunter, Persona 4, and Sekiro. So you can actually see your Sims character playing Cyberpunk 2077 on their machine at home. So
just to be clear, Mike, everybody is playing this game but you. The journalists are playing this game right now. They've done it for 16 hours. They got some great videos out there. The slime balls that are like passing somebody the Benjamin and getting one on the sly are playing them right now. The frickin' Sims are playing 2077 right now, and you're not.
Exactly. So, and I'll have to just wait like a peasant to get the actual release date. So,
yeah. And just to like rub salt in that wound of yet another thing you won't be able to get, which is that phone. There is an exclusive OnePlus, which is a phone manufacturer. Some people will be very aware of them, but there's a OnePlus 8T Cyberpunk 2077 smartphone.
Nice. And
this thing is got like Cyberpunk in yellow reflective on the back. It's got like these slight yellow accents along certain curves of the phone, very subtle, like on the glass. It comes with a specific phone case that kind of highlights these accents and builds on them. When it boots, it looks like all cybery booting. It's got like, like lines of code that pop past.
You're literally a netrunner.
When it's fully booted, the default theme of the phone has like, like blue and cyan, teal, outlines around things and fonts. And it's like they went all the way with this. They just went they didn't just put Cyberpunk 2077, a yellow font on the outside of this damn phone. I mean, there's an unboxing of it, and it's a pretty good looking full-sized smartphone. And they went so far as to have like, when you're booted up and using the phone itself, that it still has Cyberpunk themes. It's pretty good looking. And it's only available in Asia.
Yeah, of course. Just like the shoes. What's funny though,
just like the shoes.
We did mention last week that there was a humble bundle for all the core tabletop game for Cyberpunk for like $15.
Still going on.
I actually picked it up, and I'm actually quite pleased and surprised with what was actually included. So to give you a hint, it actually came with Cyberpunk 2020, which is the core book before Cyberpunk Red, which was a later revision. And Cyberpunk 2020.
How close to the future that guy told, all those years ago when he created Cyberpunk 2020.
Yeah, I mean, this was like, a long time. So, and then what's interesting,
dystopian future.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is it is 2020, and we're looking at now this year, and I'm looking at all the content, and it's pretty neat because what I found out is it's very, very, very detailed. Like the customization just with your character, just with doing normal things that typically when I play like D&D 5e, like it's a lot different. I've even played some Pathfinder before, and it seems a little more customizable. But I mean, that takes both of those and it makes it look like a kid's game compared to the amount of actual detail that you can get out of this. So I've been reading through those handbooks, and it came with all kinds of other core material too. So like, I mean, literally there's a book that just talks about things they can purchase, like your characters can purchase. So like whether it's just like jewelry or fashion or guns or whatever, there's like full books of just that stuff they can spend money on. And so it's been pretty nice. Yeah, reading through all of the different parts and the way that the structure was, and really neat. I mean, I'm kind of nice because there's also a Night City book that talks about Night City and goes into detail about the different parts and the government and everything. And the way that CD Projekt Red, but the way that Cyberpunk Red is, because Cyberpunk Red, not CD Projekt Red. So Red is apparently supposed to take place between 2077 and 2020, somewhere in the middle there. So if you read the core books of Red, it'll kind of get you up to speed to what is happening and what's the intermediate between that time and to where the game is going to be released, like what's actually happening in the government. So I've been really interested.
Why Johnny Silverhands matters.
Right. And it talks about him in the book too. So I've been getting a lot of lore out of this too, which has been pretty nice. Like getting a little bit of the history of the background of the game, kind of like what I think Bruno said last week is I'm going to be like, oh yeah, there's Street. And and I'm getting to that point. Like I'm already reading a bunch about it. So it is pretty interesting. And with that, I would definitely recommend buying that Humble Bundle while it's still on sale. So with that being said, we'll take a minute to have a word with our sponsors. So hang tight. We'll be right back.